original photos are easy to get. Just use Midjourney, prompt the AI to create realistic photos. How good is Midjourney to creating realistic photos? Napoleon says, I reached out to one of my clients for photos from his jobs and he happily sent them to me. Yeah, that's a really good way if you have a client, right? If you're creating GBP straight JK lead gen style without a client, then you can't do that. With Midjourney, my photos are pretty much just like the photos you take with cameras. You can set the geo to be ultra realistic camera, etc. $10 a month and you get hundreds of photos. Okay, pretty good tip. Still probably a good idea, Felix. On top of that, use that software to add like all the data that an iPhone photo has, like camera that was used, etc., etc., etc. Ask ChatGPT on all the different fields that an iPhone might have and have the software replicate that as well. And Google loves Google, so the more of their products attached to your business, the better. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, right? G Suite, they make $8 a month. Of course, they want people using that. Touching back on using Chamber of Commerce as a trust signal, I've been sponsoring a local event or sports team will help with showing Google that the business's local activity within their community. Yeah, really specific prompts can create photos. Midjourney can process 40 images at a time. The thing I'm concerned with is, does Midjourney or any of these AIs, do they add a watermark to the image that we can't see with the naked eye and Google is able to detect it? Because guys, watermark technology is insane with images. On a superficial, the photos may appear valid. Google doesn't only look at X data, run computer vision image recognition to see if the photo matches the business type. Okay. Check consistency with Street View. That's crazy if they're doing that. Look for duplication across the web. Stock photos, AI are often reused. Track user submitted photos versus business submitted ones. May apply AI content detection models themselves. Google has acknowledged it can detect some type of synthetic AI imagery through texture, noise pattern analysis, inconsistencies in object structure. Google hasn't publicly stated we ban AI photos for GBP. Okay, that's good to know. But they do explicitly forbid stock and non-representative images and guidelines. If AI generated images has details inconsistent with reality, wrong street sign, impossible shadows, made up storefronts, even if you embed perfect metadata, if Google's Vision API detects anomalies, signage font doesn't match, real world signage, storefront doesn't match Street View. Yeah, I think Google can't ban AI images because what if I'm a brand new company and I know I can do this particular type of underground pools, but I haven't done it yet, and I just use AI to show what I can do or new types of services that I can do. I use AI to generate what that job looks like. That should be allowed, right? Yes, you can technically generate photorealistic images with Midjourney and spoof the metadata, but for GBP, that's high risk because Google system don't just check metadata, they cross-check visual content against the real world. If it's like a close-up image of a roof, etc., you can find the location of a specific roof and ask Midjourney to duplicate that kind of roof as well. There's no way that Google's API is that good to detect if it's that actual, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we're at with that. AI images, it's in the gray zone. Yeah, Herman says AI photos can be used for Google Posts, but not photo section. Herman, do you have experience with this? Where did you have this understanding? How have you come up with that conclusion? Herman says Google can detect AI images even if they look realistic. See, that was my concern. Do you know how they can detect that? Because ChatGPT says potentially it might be fine. Felix says you have to understand that Google isn't a search engine company, it's an ads company. They don't make money off of GBP. Sure, they can detect AI photos, etc., but why it's so expensive to do at scale across GBP and they don't get much of a return from doing that. That's also true. Something to always keep in mind is that Google will put up a lot of statements to scare off spammers, but do they actually do it? Because they also have to save on costs. And each time they do this advanced kind of things, it becomes more and more costly for Google at an exponential cost, right? Because it's thousands, millions of GBPs. Aaron says, I've used AI photos for GBP updates before with no issues. Herman, let us know what you think of that. I have a feeling like AI images, I think the meta tag is very inexpensive for Google to check that, right? But in terms of AI image detection, that to me requires a lot more CPU power and that gets exponentially more expensive. Yeah, I hear what Felix is saying. Google cares that I'm not misrepresenting or manipulating users through my content. Herman says, I have AI images rejected while uploading, and it's against their policy, so we risk suspension. True. But some users are saying they were able to add. Even with meta tags too, if I did previous work in another state, why can't I use that photos to showcase my previous and my GBP? Yeah, you have a point with that. I don't think these rules are one of those things where it's like a black and white, clear cut, boom, you automatically get suspended because of one factor. It's an amalgamation of all these different factors that Google's algorithm is calculating, correct? So if you upload all these different photos and all the geotags, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Ohio, Michigan, and it's all amount, then that will completely decrease the trust signal. Now, if you have few photos from Florida and it's in LA, you got some photos in there from LA, I think that's fine. But again, we're talking about verifying the listing. Once it's verified, I think more lenient. In terms of verifying the listing, we want to stack as much trust signals as possible, right? So this is like my mindset of approaching this. I'm not sure about that one, Herman. I don't know. I think Google strips off the EXIF data from the photo. I'm pretty sure Google reads that data.